We got some big news in the world of Second Amendment rights. The United States Supreme Court has scheduled a conference for this Friday, January 10th, to consider hearing not one, not two, but three major Second Amendment cases brought by, or two of them are brought by Second Amendment Foundation. And these cases could have monumental implications for gun rights across the nation. Let's break it all down. But first, check out the sponsor of the video, Brownells. Brownells just dropped the video, the build video for my new long-distance bolt gun over on their YouTube channel. I'll link it down below. That thing is sweet. Please give me your opinion on the parts that I chose for my build. Also, we are very, very close to announcing something huge with Brownells regarding that build. So make sure you head over to their YouTube video, which I'll link down below, and check that build out and let me know what you think about it. And as always, use code GNG10 over at Brownells and save on just about everything over there. All right, first let's talk about the cases. The two lawsuits that challenge bans on so-called assault weapons and magazine capacity restrictions out of Maryland and Delaware. And then I'll tell you about the third one. Here's the breakdown. In Snope v. Brown, the Second Amendment Foundation is contesting Maryland's ban on assault weapons. They're joined on that case by the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, the Firearms Policy Coalition, otherwise known as FPC, and the individual plaintiff, David Snope. Meanwhile, in the Gray versus Jennings case, Second Amendment Foundation and its partners are challenging Delaware's ban on both assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Now, the Jennings case also asks a very critical question. Does infringing on Second Amendment rights count as irreparable injury the same way that violations to our First Amendment do? I think they do. What about you? Sound off in the comment section down below. And if you love the Second Amendment like I do, you want to see all of these laws be repealed, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll bring you Second Amendment information every single day. All you gotta do is keep coming back. Now, these cases are about more than just Maryland or Delaware. They challenge fundamental interpretations of the Second Amendment, especially post-landmark decisions like D.C. versus Heller in 2008, McDonald versus Chicago in 2010, and New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin of 2022. Now, my buddy Adam Kraut, who's a Second Amendment Foundation executive director, he argues that the Fourth Circuit's decision in the Snope case misinterprets Supreme Court precedent, treating commonly owned semi-automatic rifles as unprotected because they're too similar to military arms. He believes this is a widespread misapplication of the court's rulings. Yeah, I agree. And if the United States Supreme Court agrees to hear this case, it could finally settle whether these firearms fall under the Second Amendment and its protections, which they obviously do. In Delaware, the focus isn't just on banning certain firearms and magazines, but also a broader constitutional issue. Second Amendment Foundation wants the court to rule that any infringement on the Second Amendment should automatically be considered irreparable harm, just like First Amendment violations. SAF founder Alan Gottlieb said, "Any infringement on one right should merit the same scorn as infringements on other rights. The Second Amendment is not a second-class right." This case also highlights a critical circuit split, which is disagreements among federal courts on how these constitutional rights should be treated. While Maryland and Delaware take center stage, like I said, there's a third case in the mix, and that's Ocean State Tactical versus Rhode Island. This lawsuit challenges Rhode Island's 2022 law banning standard capacity magazines holding more than 10 rounds. To date, 14 states and Washington, D.C. have enacted similar bans, and they should all be struck down as unconstitutional. Despite recent Supreme Court rulings, lower courts, like those in the First and Seventh Circuits, have upheld these laws, maintaining a contentious legal landscape for gun owners. These cases come at a critical time. The Supreme Court's 2022 Bruin decision set a high bar for gun restrictions, requiring laws to align with historical tradition. Yet states continue to push new bans, and lower courts are divided on how to apply the ruling. I think we should be able to lodge cases about these politicians who are pushing these unconstitutional laws, bills. They should be held in contempt, but what do I know? Sound off down below. But the big question here is, will the Supreme Court intervene to clarify and reinforce Second Amendment protections once and for all? So what's next? On Friday, January 10th, the United States Supreme Court will meet to decide whether or not to grant cert, or certiorari, meaning they'll agree to hear the case. They only need 4 justices to agree to hear the case in order to take it up. Now, if they do, arguments could happen later this year with a ruling by summer or fall. They usually drop their rulings in late June, just before they take off for the summer break. Now, these decisions could reshape Second Amendment law nationwide. Now, stay tuned, folks. We have a new administration, we have a new Congress, we have a new Senate, and at least the administrator is saying he's going to return a lot of things the way they should. So we'll see. These cases could redefine the balance between state gun laws and the constitutional rights of millions of Americans. Remember, states can offer you more protections, but they cannot take away that minimum standard that is set in the United States Constitution. Remember that. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss our updates on these critical Supreme Court cases. Let me know in the comments, do you think that SCOTUS will take up these cases? And what do you hope the outcome will be? I think I already know, but I still want to hear your opinion because this is not an echo chamber. I welcome varied opinions here. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next time. Stay free, America. Take care.